I'm going to discuss about the contribution of nanotechnology in medicine and medical field. So the content which I'm going to cover in today's presentation are: what is nanoscience, what is nanotechnology, what is nanoscale, what is nanomaterial. Then I will discuss about the uses of nanotechnology in medical field, then history of nanomedicine. Then further I will discuss about uses of nanotechnology in medicine. And lastly, I will share the advantages and disadvantages of this technology. So, what is nanoscience? So, nanoscience is a study of structure and material on an ultra small scale and the unique and interesting properties these materials. Nanoscience is a cross-disciplinary. It means a science from a range of fields including chemistry, physics, biology, medicine, computing materials, science, and engineering of study. It is used to study the better understanding of world. The word nanoscience refers to the study of manipulation of matter, particle, and structure on the nanometer scale. Important properties of nanomaterials such as electrical, optical, thermal, and mechanical properties are determined by the way of molecules and atoms assemble in a nanoscale into a large structure. Moreover, in a nanometer sized structure, their properties often differ than on a microscope because quantum mechanical effects become important. So moving further, what is nanotechnology? So nanotechnology is the design, production, and application of structural device at the nanoscale. In other words, nanotechnology is the application of nanoscience leading to the uses of new nanomaterials and nanosized components in useful products. Nanotechnology eventually provides us with the ability to design custom-made material and products with a new enhanced property. New nanoelectronics component, new type of smart medicines and sensors, even interface between electronics and biological systems. So essentially, one is studying the nanomaterial, that is nanoscience, and their properties, and on the other hand, other is using those material and property to create something new or different, which is nanotechnology. So now for your easy understanding, I will explain what is nanoscale and how small is it. It ranges between approximately 1 to 100 nanometers. But what do I really mean by this? So I mean to say that it's so tiny that 10 hydrogen atoms laid side by side measures a nanometer across. A strand of DNA is 2.5 nanometer wide, while a red blood cell is about 7,000 nanometer wide. To give you some idea about nanoscale, I have some more examples present over here. A human hair is between 15,000 to 100,000 nanometer wide. A single sheet of paper is around 75,000 nanometer thick, while a pen head is around a million nanometer wide. And to give you a hypothetical example, just imagine if each person on the earth was the size of a nanometer, everyone on this planet will fit in a small matchbox. So now you can imagine how super tiny a nanoscale is. So as nanoscale is so small, how we can see? As it exists beyond our sense. To see the ultra small world, earlier we used big machines. In early of 1930s, scientists were able to see the nanoscale using instruments such as scanning electron microscope, here referred as SEM, and transmission electron microscope, here referred as STEM. These electron microscopes use a particle beam of electron to illuminate a specimen and provide far greater resolution than traditional microscopes. But new technology has given scientists a tool that really enables them to see the nano world more interestingly. The most recent advancement in the microscopy are scanning tunneling microscope, that is SCAM. It can be used in air, water, ultra-high vacuum, and various other liquids or gases in the temperature ranging from near 0 to few hundred degrees Celsius. So as we are dealing with the nanotechnology in medicine, we have to study that what is nanomaterial. Nanomaterials are the materials that are at nanoscale whose properties such as conductivity, color, and mechanical hardness changes due to the nanoscale dimension. Nanomaterial encompasses all the nanoscale material that contain at least one nanoscale structure either on their surface or internally. They can be inorganic, organic, or biological. Examples are present here. Have a look on it. So now, organic nanoparticles are on the upper edge in the term of biodegradability over the inorganic nanoparticles. So they result in non-composite when blend with a biodegradable molecule. Hence they are used in medical purposes. Examples are present over here. Whereas the inorganic nanoparticles are extensively used as antimicrobial agent in food packaging and system examples, as the examples are present in the first section. Then lastly, a carbon nanomaterial have extraordinarily electric conductivity, heat conductivity, and mechanical properties. These are composed of pure carbon that exhibiting highly stable, good conductivity, low toxicity, and they are eco-friendly and environment friendly too. Moving further, now we will learn different uses of nanotechnology in our daily life. There are various uses of nanotechnology in our daily life, like agriculture, food industry, biomedical, drug delivery, cosmetics, paints, textile industry, electronic industry, and many more. But here I am going to explain few of them. So the first application is in medical field. Nanotechnology in medicine is currently being developed involve nanoparticles to deliver drugs, heat, light, and other substance to specific type of cell. We are going to study this in detail in the further presentation. So the second application we are considering here is textile industry. Nanotechnology has real commercial potential for the textile industry. This is mainly due to the fact that conventional method used to impart different properties as it is used for covering the furniture. Nano coatings are able to improve the durability of wood and non-wood products by utilizing nanoparticles and nano-delivering system that make the changes at the molecular level of the product. And further, it's used in cosmetics. Nanotechnology is also used in cosmetics. It may help to reverse the aging at the cellular level. As the nanoparticles are so small, it allows the nanoparticles to penetrate deeper into the skin, delivering the nutrients to the more layer of the skin. So now we will discuss about the aim. So what is the aim of nanomedicine? Aim of the nanomedicine may be broadly defined as the comprehensive monitoring, controlling, construction, repairing, defense, and improvement of all human biological systems, working from molecular level using engineered device and nanostructure, ultimately to achieve medical benefit. Nanomedicine is a branch of medicine that applies the knowledge and tools of nanotechnology to prevent the treatment of disease. It involves nanoscale material, nanorobots for diagnosis, delivering sensing, and in living organisms. Now, talking about the history of nanotechnology. On 29 December 1959, physicist Richard Feynman gave a radical lecture at American Physical Society. The title of this session was "There's a Plenty Room at the Bottom." This lecture gave birth to the study of nanotechnology. But our great Indian history shows the use of nanoparticles in 7th century in Ayurveda. Bhasma are unique Ayurvedic medicines made up of metallic mineral preparation treated with herbal juice used in Ayurveda. A bhasma means a ash obtained by incineration. It involves purification process followed by the reaction with herbal extract. There are various importance of bhasma, like maintaining optimum alkalinity for optimum health, neutralizing harmful acids that leads to the illness. Some of the example of the bhasma are Swarna bhasma and Tamra bhasma. So now moving further. So what are the applications of nanotechnology in medical field? First example is it's used in drug delivery and in medicines. Second is surgery, and the third which is medical robotics. Medical robots are widely used in field of medical field. So moving further, use of nanotechnology in drug delivery. In this technique, it requires a drug doses used here are lesser side effects, as the active agent is deposited on the morbid region only. As application of nanotechnology in medicine currently being developed involves employing nanoparticles to deliver the drug, heat, light and other substance to the specific type of cell. Particles are engineered so that they are attracted to the disease cell, which allows direct treatment to those cells. This technique reduces damage to the healthy cell in the body and allows an earlier detection of the disease. Moving further, what is the application of nanotechnology in surgery? With nanotechnology, minded surgical instruments and nanorobots can be made, which can be used to perform microsurgeries on any part of the body. For this, antibodies are used. Antibodies attached to the carbon nanotubes in the chips to detect the cancer cell in the bloodstream. Researchers believe that the method could be used in simple lab tests that could provide early detection of cancer in the bloodstream. With nanotechnology, visualization of surgery can also be improved. Instead of a surgeon holding the instrument, computer can be used to control the nano-sized surgical instrument. So it's really helpful for us. So now moving further, talking about the nanorobot. Nanorobots are a nano device used to repair or detect the damaged cell. Nanorobots will actually be programmed to repair specific disease cell functioning in the similar way to the antibodies in a natural healing process. There are nanocameras available which provide closely a visualization of a surgery, which can lessen the chance of any mistake with the use of nanorobot. Nanorobot surgery could also be done at the genetic level and the cellular level. So I would like to explain you something about the nanoparticles which we are actually using in the treatment. First is dendramites. Dendramites are man-made molecule having a tree-like structure, having number of small branching molecule around the central core molecule. Dendramites measure between 2 to 20 nanometer across and are branching molecules with a branching beginning at their core. Nano device based on the dendramites may be used for cancer cell recognition. Diagnosis of cancer causes, it is used for diagnosis of cancer cause, drug delivery, reporting drug level in the tumors and reporting cancer cell death. Now talking about the liposome. Liposome are small spherical vesicles composed of lipid bilayer surrounding aqueous inner face. Liposomes are usually composed of phospholipid or cholesterol, which are used in encapsulated various activity drugs. Liposome are 200 nanometers smaller. At the target site, liposome fuse with the cell membrane and deliver the molecule. So talking about its next application, which is magnetic hyperthermia. Magnetic hyperthermia is a treatment for the cancer based on magnetic nanoparticles. It is one of the applications of nanotechnology in the treatment of cancer cells. It's based on the fact that magnetic nanoparticles can transform electromagnetic energy from an external high frequency to the heat. This is due to the magnetic hysteresis of material when it is subjected to an alternating magnetic field. There are a number of therapeutic benefits of producing localized heating for the cell, having the size ranging from a few 10 of nanometer and hence are easily absorbed by the tumor cell. It can effectively cross the blood-brain barrier, opening up into new modality of treatment for the brain tumors. It can be easily manipulated in a colloidal form with a numerous drug delivery methods. The magnetic movements of a nanoparticle will align with external magnetic field and the external magnetic field change the direction. The magnetic movement will also change the direction. This produces a dissipation leading to the heat. One of the major disadvantages of using magnetic field to produce heating is that it is easily penetrated in the tissue. So this was all about the magnetic nanoparticle hyperthermia. So now I will share the merits and demerits of nanomedicine. First, we will discuss about the advantages of nanotechnology in medical field. So, as the drug delivery is at exact location of treatment in the body, it reduces negative effect of the drug and in the surgical process. This causes lesser side effect on the patient's bone. As it is used for molecular targeting, it gives a faster relief. It uses a faster, smaller, and highly sensitive diagnostic tool for the treatment. Now moving further with the disadvantages. As it uses highly sensitive diagnostic tool, the treatment requires quite high amount of money. Nanotechnology has nanotoxicity as its disadvantages. Due to nanotoxicity, patient may suffer with allergy, fibrosis, inflammation, which is caused due to the chemical composition of patients responsible for the particle responsible for its reactivity. Due to very small in size and highly sensitive equipment, it has implementation difficulties. Now I want to explain something about the economical issue of nanomedicine. As it equips highly costly medicine and highly sophisticated equipment, it has created a gap between the treatment of rich and poor patients, as they can't afford it. So to conclude today's presentation, nanotechnology gives a huge contribution in medical field, which is really beneficial for us humans. It has more advantages as compared to the disadvantages. So it will be really helpful for us in our future. So now, thanking you all for being a patient listener. Thank you.
So a wonderful presentation by Nidhi. Now students can ask questions. So students, you can raise your questions.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes.
So can I ask?
Yes.
Hello, Nidhi. Are you listening to me?
Yes, Akshita.
So as we all know that our nature is paying a high cost of human action, and everyone is moving towards eco-friendly. And you have explained really well about the advantages and disadvantages. But my question is, what do you think about the eco-friendliness of nanotechnology or nanomaterials that you have explained now?
So, Ashita, as I have explained that two nanomaterials are made up of carbon or are biological in nature. So they are recyclable and they can be used further, and they are easily decomposable in nature. So it will not harm that much. Few things are there, obviously few things are there, but not all the nanomaterials are harmful to nature.
So you mean most of the nanomaterials are eco-friendly?
Yes, maximum made up of which are made up of carbon and are organic, they are eco-friendly.
Here I would like to point out, Nidhi, it is not that everything is eco-friendly, because while designing drugs and we are using for nanotechnology, you have many chemicals, and these chemicals are definitely harmful to everybody, because you are going to use some or other chemicals. Not only carbon and hydrogen will not do. You have to use many elements which are really harmful. For example, cadmium is there, or lead can be there. Various kinds of chemicals are there. However, what happens, what we do is we try to encapsulate it, and we try to dispose it off in a way that that should not be harmful to the environment and to the human beings. So that is, we can't say right now whatever drugs we have designed, because whatever we are eating, that is just to overcome the disease, and after we have, because that is our majburi, we can say, you have no choice, right? So that is the thing. What is more important, you have to think whether your health is important, you want to overcome that disease, or it is you are going to look at the side effects. So all the medicines, they have their own side effects. So whatever whatever is important, we have to think of that. And again, here when it goes into the environment, it goes through into the water body or other places, we don't have any guarantee about it unless because various drugs whatever are designed, they contain large number of dangerous chemicals, right? So we try to find the possibility that they should be environmental friendly, but everything cannot be stopped. Okay.
Yes, sir. I was trying to say that only there are few things which are biodegradable, not all.
Yes. So any other questions, students?
Thank you, Nidhi. Thank you, sir.
Yes, actually.
Yes, students. Any other question? Okay, so very nice presentation by Nidhi, and so give her a big thumbs up. Now we go to the next presenter. So you can start. So Nidhi, you can.
My screen is visible.
Yes, yes. Yes, you can start.
Good afternoon, everyone. My topic is quantum computer. So there are two types of computers. First is classical computer, and now a new is quantum computer. Classical computer is works on molecular spectra, and quantum computer is work on encoded work. First we know, trying to know what is quantum computing. Quantum computing is the exploitation of connective properties of quantum states such as superposition and entanglement to perform computation. These devices that perform quantum computation are known as quantum computers. They are believed to be able to solve certain computational problems, integer factorization, which underlies RSA engine, substantially faster than classical computers. Study of quantum computing is a subset of quantum computations, and it is likely to expand in the next few years as the field shifts towards real world use in pharmaceutical, data security, and other applications. Let's know that when this quantum computer was, what is the history of quantum computing? Here is the history of quantum computing. Quantum computing began in 1980 when physicists Paul Binot proposed a quantum mechanical model of the Turing machine. Richard Feynman and Yuri Manin later suggested that a quantum computer had the potential to simulate things a classical computer could not physically do. In
प्रगति
1994,
प्रगति
Yes, sir.
तुम्हारा मोबाइल टिल्ट कर लो, फुल स्क्रीन में आ जाएगा ये. Yes, yes.
Okay, let's move to the history. Quantum computing began in 1980 when physicist Paul Binov proposed a quantum mechanical model of the thinking mind. Richard Feynman and Yuri Malin later suggested that a quantum computer had the potential to simulate things a classical computer could not feasibly do. In 1994, Peter Shor developed a quantum algorithm for factoring integers with the potential to encrypt RSA encrypted communication. Despite ongoing experimental progress, since the late 1990s, most researchers believe that fault-tolerant quantum computing fills a rather different niche. In recent years, investment in quantum computing research has increased in the public and private sectors. On 23 October 2019, Google L, in partnership with the US National Aeronautics and Space Administration, claimed to have performed a quantum computation that was infeasible on any classical computer. Let's move to the discovery of quantum computer. Who discovered the first quantum computer? That was in 1998, Isaac Chong of the Los Alamos National Laboratory named Dershowitz of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and Mark Tubinek of the University of California and Barkley created the first quantum computer of 2 qubits that could be loaded with data and output a solution. So let's see some basic information about quantum computers. Quantum computers developing computing method based on the principle of quantum physics. Execution of computer is expected to be done by quantum computers. Quantum computers store information in a quantum system such as an atom or a photon or in the form of atom or in quantum computer, whereas in a classical computer we use 0 and 1. Instead of 0 and 1, here we have used two electronic states of an atom or two different polarization orientation of light for the two states. It means that instead of 0 and 1, we can either use at a time we can use 0 and 1 and any point between the 0 and 1. Some of the properties of quantum physics was used in a quantum computer. Let's see. Quantum computer are the machines that use the properties of quantum physics to store data and perform computation. Some properties of quantum physics are quantum superposition. So what is quantum superposition? Quantum superposition. Qubits are made using physical systems such as spin of an electron or the orientation of photons. The
a very good presentation by Pragati.